Thank you, Vanchika. So guys, today we are going to do some more stuff on this project things, right? So we start with everything, and good morning, guys. And let's start with the thing that is we have done with the login, and we are on the dashboard screen. So on a dashboard screen today, the agenda is to design the dashboard screen, and that dashboard screen can have the links, and that links would be work, right? So in my mind, we are going to cover up the important thing, that is how to do the routing in React. So that's a new thing for us. Plus, if user is get registered, how to send a mail, and when we are sending a mail, how we can send a code, let's say OTP kind of code if you want to send it. So because somebody's asked how to reset a password, that's why I'm including this, how we can send this OTP kind of thing with a mail, right? So we are sending a mail with including a OTP kind of stuff, right? So we start first with the routing and the mail and then OTP. Then if we have the time allowed, so we will move to the next thing. So this is the plan for today. I mean, for this particular time period. So first of all, how we can design the dashboard. So we are moving to the dashboards thing, and first of all, I just start the application, and I'm running both of the things. One is that CD node. I think that's a web, right? So we are here, and from here I do npm start. So it is running the backend, and from here I'm running the front end. From here I say front end and npm start. So I run both of them, the backend and the front end. And here it is. So we have this login and create account screen. So first of all, we just move to this app.js. Here we are calling this to do, and to do is this one, right? And from this particular to do, I'm going to render the things from here. So it has this login and registration stuff, this one. So it has two buttons, login and registration. But we are saying video is lagging. So guys, please confirm, is this the video is lagging or is fine? Okay, that's fine. So Bhavya, you need to check it at your end. So moving back, guys. So today's session is really important because we are going to sum up everything in this project. So from here, I just say this is a to-do application. So it will say H2, and from here I say to-do app. So this would become first, and inside this to-do app, it has these buttons, right? And I hope we are using this bootstrap thing. So I specify class name, and I just say alert info, right? And text center, right? So it would be like this. So we have this login. I click on this. Video is lagging. So some of them are saying it's fine, some of them saying lagging. I don't know why.
Sorry, yeah, it's lagging. It's loading slow.
Okay. So I think, I don't know, because I have the speed is coming correct. So I don't know, guys, why it is, because I'm here, and what I will do, I can just I just speak a little bit slow, so it would be get match. So Bhavya asking what we have done. We have done nothing right now. We just start with the todo.js, and in this todo.js, I just put H2, right? I just put H2, and in this H2, I just specify to do app, right? So nothing fancy I have done. So this is the to-do app. Right now it is coming, and it has this login and create account, right? I hope voice is coming correctly, right? So from
Yes, the voice is fine.
voice fine. So there, because of internet, I think there would be some lagging. So if you anywhere you have not understand anything, so you can ask. I will repeat. So from here we have this login, and from login we are doing this login stuff. And once we have done the login, like for example Tim, and I hope we have a password 123. Yesterday we have created, and when we are logged in, it moved to the dashboard. So today we are going to create this dashboard. Now this is a really important point, how we can create a dashboard. So just to save the time to create a dashboard, I am recommending go to the getbootstrap.com, right? Go to the getbootstrap.com. So I am here, right? And from here, it has some examples it has. So I just go to the example section, and from example, if you just see there is thing called dashboard. I hope everyone able to see this. This is a dashboard, right? So I just click on this dashboard. So here it is. So it means it has only the thing called what it has. It has a thing called dashboard layouting, nothing more than this. So it has something called dashboard layouting. So what we will do, we just do right click and view page source, and it has some layouting of the dashboard. Makes sense, guys? And we need to pick some of the CSS which it is using. So it will save our time instead of designing the whole dashboard. So we will move on a HTML and CSS style and we lose the React things. So that's why just to save our time, we will just pick the design portion of this, right? So it has a design portion, and if you just walk through, it is using the Bootstrap. So we are also using the Bootstrap. And if we scroll it down, so it is using a CSS which we do not have. That is called dashboard.css it is using. So what we will do, right click and open it, this thing, right? So it has this dashboard.css. So I copy this dashboard.css, and because I am not going to make this dashboard.css, so I just copy this thing. So at least the design part, we are not waste the time. So we just pick the thing, and from here, if we just go here in the container, we have the dashboard. So we will create a thing called dashboard.css, and from here I just paste it, right? So what I did, I just go to the getbootstrap.com. So I just go to the getbootstrap.com, and from the bootstrap.com there is a link called examples. So I click on this examples, right? And from the example, I just scroll it down, and from this we have a link called dashboard. So I click on the dashboard. So this dashboard thing is coming. Then I do right click and view page source. So I am able to see the code. And from here, if we just see this code, we are able to see it has the Bootstrap CSS. We are already using bootstrap.css, so no problem. Now it is showing, it is using something called dashboard.css. So this dashboard CSS is actually built by the Bootstrap, this example theme using this thing, right? So I just click on this dashboard.css. I just do right click, or I just click on it. So when I click on it, it has the CSS code. So I just copy this code, and from here I create dashboard.css and I just paste it. It will save our time, right? And from the dashboard.js, I do import. I hope everyone understand this thing. And import dot slash, and then I will write dashboard dot css, right? So I import this dashboard.css, right? So when I import this dashboard.css, in our case, because we do not have right now, so I just go Tim123, I just do login. So it is showing the dashboard welcome. So we do not have the design right now. So what we will do, we will just pick the design we have already, right? This is the design. So we just do right click view source. Here we are. And if we just see closely, we need to see it is using some nav tag for the navigation. So you need to understand it is a navigation, company name and all of the stuff, right? So I just go on this view source section, and it is saying it has the nav section. So I just keep copy this section, nav section, and in the dashboard, I just create a folder called widgets, right? So I just create a folder called widgets, and inside the widgets, I will create something called navbar.js, right? And from here, I will say const navbar and here I done export and props, and from here I will say return, and here I paste this thing. Makes sense, guys? I hope everyone understand this thing. So I paste the nav section here, and this class, if you just see this is the class here, and it is not using the class stuff. So I will just keep select this. So if you just see, everything is get selected, and I press Control Shift L. So everywhere the cursor is get placed, and then I delete this class, and I am here writing class name. So everywhere it will change the class name, because class name is understandable by React, right? Makes sense? I hope everyone understand this thing. But we are asking why not navbar in CSS? Nav is a tag. Bhavya. So tag you have writing in your in HTML, right? CSS is a design. So the design of the navbar is there in the CSS. I hope you understand. So nav tag we are using. That's why we need to copy paste it here. So right. So we actually divided everything. Now the point is, because we have this widget, so that's why I'm using this as a widget. So it is a common UI which we are actually using. So import, and from here I will say I need to import React from React, because we need to use a JSX. So at least we have the navbar. So this is, we have the navbar, and it is become a reusable component. If you just check this out, it has become a reusable component. So can I write here the thing called navbar, right? So I use navbar, and it is coming from this place, and it is saying something unterminating JSX line number 15. It is saying, so it means somewhere it is not closing the tag, right? So it is saying in line number 15. So nav, I have the nav tag. Nav is closed. I hope some of the tag is not closed. Button we have. Button is closed. Span is closed. Input, I think input is not closed. So I need to just close it down, this input, right? Because it's a strict one. That's why. So move back to our React, and then we are doing the login here. So when every time when we restart it, it is coming back to the home page. That's the nature, because we are doing the coding right now, and here it is. I hope everyone understands. So we have this company name and the search, and then sign out, right? So from here we have the company name, and let's say we want that company name will be get changed in the future. That name would be get changed in a future. So we will do the futuristic coding here. We will go in SRC, and we'll create a folder called utils, right? And inside this utils, we will say it would be a config.js, and this contain some constants which is common, and here I will say it has something called company name, and the company name we will provide something, right? So let's say we provide a company, let's say TCS, makes sense, and suppose here I will say export. So here we have done this thing, and we have the constant, and that contain the company name. So it means whenever we need a company name, so I'm just going here. Oops, it is undo, save, and I just go in the snap bar, and from the snap bar point of view, I will say here the company name would not be get static. It must be dynamic. To make it dynamic, so it means if you are deliver this project to some customer, and customer want put my company name, so just go to the config and just change it. So that's why I use this thing. So here I will use a word called constants dot and the company name. Makes sense? And here in the output, once we get logged in here, there is Tim and 1, 2, 3 we are using, and I logged in here. So it is showing this TCS as a company name. I hope everyone understand this thing. So now we have this stuff. Now we need to showcase the left panel where all the stuff will be shown. So just go back to this area and closely see the code. That is really important. So we see it is having the dashboard, it has having the orders, it has having the span, customer. So if you see dashboard, orders, product, everything we have. So Ritik is saying we can add image in our nav for presentation also. Yes, of course you can add IMG tag you will use at SRC and specify the URL of an image. Right. So it's same like you have done for the HTML. So let's say we have this dashboard order products. So this is the sidebar which is coming up. And if you just see the code closely, this is a sidebar code. I hope everyone understand this thing. And it is start from this particular div, line number 60. It is get started. And if we scroll it, so we need to see it closely. This div is started and it is not get closed right now. So we need a sidebar. First thing we need to clear. In widgets, we need something called sidebar.js, right? And from here, I will say export const sidebar. And from here, we will say props. And this is right. And from here, I have this return statement. And in this return statement, I will write this thing. Chetan is asking how to specify the company name. It is pretty much easy, Chetan. I use simple JavaScript. I create a constants, right? It's just an object. And inside it, I specify company name. So that's a key and that's a value. And in your navbar.js, I just import this thing constant here, first of all. And then in the company section, this is the company section, I put curly bracket, and you know curly bracket is for the dynamic things. So that company name I have printed. I hope you understand this thing. Right. Whatever the things I am doing, because we are on the project, so that's why I want to clean up everything. That's why I create a folder called widgets, which contain the UI sections, right? So that's why I done this thing. I hope everyone understand. I hope Chetan, you understand how the company name is coming. Right, and we are making the futuristic. It means if you are deliver this project to some customer, so customer company name would be get changed. So we'll just go in a config and then make it change. That's why it is called configuration file, right? So that's why this project is basically a juice. What we have learned, that's a juice of everything. So that's why I'm going to put everything in a one project. Anyhow, because I'm writing a lot of code in a 2 hours section, I'm just writing the code, but it is really important because anyhow, when you are joining some company, you are writing like this, right? So 8 hours you're doing the coding, right? So you need to write a lot of code. If you just see, we started this project and we have a lot of JS files, right? It is only for the front end. For the back end, again, there is a lot of JS files. And because of this, you actually, as a developer, you are grown to work on bigger projects, right? So that's why the project is really important stuff. So if you are writing the code, so you are actually building a lot of JS files, and then you can integrate it. That's why in my mindset, the developer is always on the higher position compared to a coder. That makes the developer different, because developer is actually assembling everything, writing logic, writing algorithms, assemble everything and make it everything working, right? That's why the developer is on the top of the coder. Coder only know how to write an algo. That's it. And that algo is just to submit on somewhere, right? But it is not useful for the end user. Developer main point is it can create anything which is actually used by the end user. So it means a developer is also a good coder. It has a feature. So that's why we are mixing both of the things in this program. We are writing logics. We are writing the development stuff. We are integrating everything. So that's why I'm saying once you create a project, you are in the category of the developer. Makes sense. So we are here in the sidebar section, and from the sidebar section, I will just paste this stuff, right? And again, we need to make it dynamic. So the point is from this particular section, this div section, right? And we need to find out where it is get closed. I think it is closed at the bottom area, right? So what I will use this thing. First of all, div class container fluid. So I will use this thing. And I just close it down here. And from here, I specify it has something called div class row, right? And div, this is the nav ID something. So if you just figure it out where the nav is get closed, right? Here it is, the nav is closed. So the nav is created from this place, and it has something called div class row as well as. So we are actually focused only on this nav right now. Right, not on rest of the classes. So I just keep copy this thing, copy, and just copy this thing and paste it here, right? And I just remove rest of the things because it's again a nav. Sidebar is again a nav bar. And the problem is same, it has a class. So I just double click. So every classes get selected. Press Ctrl Shift L. So when I press Ctrl Shift L, it will select all the classes. I remove it, and here I will write class name. Right, now it will work. So now at least we have the nav, right? So we have the nav, and here we are going to print it, everything. I hope guys, everyone understand this thing. So now we have this sidebar, and from here I will say import React from React. So we have at least the sidebar, but we need to put this sidebar stuff. We need to put this sidebar stuff in this dashboard.js. How? We will see. So from here, I need to put this sidebar like this, sidebar. So it would be here, but the sidebar, if we see this thing, first see, is there any error? No, no any error. Now this sidebar is actually, the sidebar stuff is actually inside. If we just see closely, it is inside something called container fluid and this row, right? So we will make this thing here, right? So I just put this thing here and I just close it down, this thing, just to make sure the layout would not be get disturbed, right? And this thing is not required at all right now. So I just commented out this thing, right? So I just save everything and let's move to our page just to check the flavor. Is this thing is working fine or not? I hope everyone understand what sort of effort is required. So here it is. We have this Navbar, and believe me, the code is become clean, because if any moment you want to change on anywhere, you have at least the different areas, right? So this is how we design it. So we have the sidebar, right? I hope this thing is clear. So container fluid, Bhavya, is basically it is a predefined class of the Bootstrap. It is basically when you use this container or container fluid. So for example, if I omit this thing and I just make it container. So, and if I just do login and I will say Tim and then 1, 2, 3. So you will the difference, I think, because it is already overridden somewhere, because when you're using a container fluid, so it will start from the last point, right? So it will start from the, from the left side, and the row is basically when you use a row. So row is a class which is actually dividing your application row and column form. I hope you already done this thing, Bootstrap. That is a grid format it is following up, right? So these all are the predefined.
So I was asking कि आपने कहाँ include किया? वो तो video lag करी थी, इसलिए वो visible नहीं था.
Which one I included?
सॉरी, क्लास वाला सिर्फ कंटेनर फ्लूइड और रो वाला, वो मैं पूछ रही थी. वो तो बूटस्ट्रैप है, वो तो पॉइंट समझ आ गया था, लेकिन वो नहीं हो रही थी, वीडियो लैग हो रही थी, तो स्क्रीन दिख नहीं रही थी.
Okay, so I think you are asking कि sidebar मैंने कहाँ बनाया है? Is this? Because sidebar I have created, and now we are going to use this class. So these classes are coming up like this way. So if I use class name. So these all classes, I have not created anything. It is coming from the Bootstrap, and from the very beginning, I think 3 to 4 classes back, we have done this thing, that is आप जाओ in index.html के अंदर, and there I use the Bootstrap. We have done this thing in a very starting phase. So I use the same thing. So if you just go here, we have this Bootstrap link, right? So Bootstrap is giving you these classes. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was asking the file, in which file you included it. It's dashboard.js. Got the point. Thank you, sir.
So I hope everyone understand this thing. That is this container name fluid, and these all are picking from the Bootstrap, and like Nirosha is saying, it is just for the responsive purpose. So the best part of the Bootstrap is the predefined classes we are picking up, right? So we have this, and we have the sidebar. Now everything is fixed it here, and somehow it is showing these links, right? So these links are coming up, but in our application, the links would be different, right? So how it is going to be different, we'll see. Now the point is, guys, in the right hand section, we want to see the page, right? We want to, when I click on this, it will show this on the right hand side, right? So how it is going to show in a right hand side, that is the most important thing for you, all of you. To see on a right hand side this thing. So what we will do, we will actually go to the section. We just go to this section particularly. So I think Bharadwaj is asking, this dashboard is for website for admin CMS. Yes, definitely. Because some guy, Ritik, is also asking about yesterday how to create the admin panel. So that's the dashboard when I'm using, this is actually a panel, right? So that's why the common word is called the dashboard, right? So the dashboard we are using, we are actually picking the design from this bootstrap, this one, right? This is an admin dashboard shell. So at least we are not going to write HTML. At least it provides the HTML stuff for us. Then, because we usually pick the template, most of the developers picking the templates, and then they customize the template by putting CSS3 on top of it, right? So through CSS3 you can override the classes, then you can give your look and feel. Makes sense. So now the point is, I hope everyone understand how we are working on this. Now we need to show the links, right? So we need to show the links. So I mean, when I click on the link, it would be show the output in dashboard.js. So it means it would be show the output here. So somehow I am writing here, we are going to show the output. So the output would be here, right? So I will write in this form, output would be here, right? That output means when I click on a link, how we will see. So this is where we are going to start routing stuff. Now, the point number one is we want to show the output, and the output would be a login section or a registration section. So we first see how it is showing the output. So they are using some section called main role, right? And from there they are showing dashboard, share exports, and they're using something called table section. So we are not going to use any table section or anything else. So right now I am just showing you here would be the output, right? Here is the output. How? That's a question. Now just go to the sidebar section. That is important. And in the sidebar, we don't want to show so many links are coming up. So we want to show in the dashboard here, it is showing something called add notes, right? And here in particular this order section, we want to show list notes, right? So add notes and list notes will become, and let's say search notes. So we can search the notes. Then there would be a section called delete notes. So we can delete the notes, right? So these kind of options is coming. And let's say at the end, there are plenty of sections. So what I will do, I will just remove the rest of the sections. So I have add, delete, search, and I don't need this report. So I just keep moving down. So I don't need this report section. So I will remove this. And even it is showing some H6, and then again URL, I don't need this thing. So this UL, I delete this, right? So this is the div, and I just match this div is here. I just save it. So it would be like this. So if I do login, Tim 123, and I do login, here it is add note, list note, search notes, delete notes. I hope everyone understand. Now, if I click on the add notes, it is showing the notes page here. Any doubts, guys, in your mind? Because it is right now what we are doing. This is actually making the real kind of project. So any question in your mind, so please raise. Because that is an outcome of our project which we are doing. Ritik is asking why we are logging again and again. The answer is, Ritik, because when I am doing changes in a code, server will be get restarted, right? I think you remember there's a watch file or Chowkidar kind of module that I told you. Whenever any changes happen, so it will restart it. So it's like it is working like a node 1, right? That's why if it is restarted, the changes are there. So it will always on the first page because we are developing it, right? Once we are developed and we are just push this code on a Git or some Heroku, then it will work, right? I hope everyone understand. And even I am also showing you when you are writing a code, you just divide your code into small widgets and then incorporate those widgets. So for example, the best part of this is if you don't like this navbar, you want to build your own customized navbar. For example, if any one of you is very good in a CSS3 and want to design something, or borrow the navbar in your style from some other template, so you can use it. So you need to just go to the navbar section and then replace this code with your new navbar style. That's the beauty of this code, right? So it is entirely a widget and component based. Now the point is, guys, in this div section, we are going to show the output. Now we are going to learn a new thing that is called routing. So it means the best part of the routing is, so just compare the thing. When I click on the add nodes, it will open the nodes here. When I click on the list node, it will open the list nodes here. So the best is it is always going to open it here, right? And it would not open a new page. That's the best thing. So it is not going to open a new page. So that's why it has become a single page application. So it means at the end you are where you are on a localhost 3000. So you are on only on a first page. I hope everyone understands this thing. So that's why this is the best part of this application. It is not loading the page again and again. It has only one page and it is loading the sections. It means it is loading the divs. So most of the companies want SPA. So we are following the SPA thing. So let's move to the thing called, right. So now Ritik is asking, so this Navbar is fixed in this position or not, and how to enable scrolling after giving the fixed position of the Navbar. Actually, Ritik, if you want to do a fixed or relative position, we need to just go to the CSS stuff, right? We have used a CSS. We have used a bootstrap classes right now, right? According to the bootstrap classes, it is providing you with a fixed form that is on the left hand side, right? So if you want to override, so we need to override the CSS stuff. So that we will take care later on, but because we are not not focus on the design, otherwise we lose the game, we lose the React and Node stuff, right? That is more important right now. And I hope you already clear the fixed position and relative position in the CSS training. Right, as well as on a YouTube channel, already the CSS videos are already uploaded, right, on my channel. So you can also watch it from there if you want to watch the HTML or CSS stuff, right? Right. Also, the Bootstrap 5 video is also coming up, so you can also check out the Bootstrap 5. That is the latest one. So now the point is, guys, we are going to use something called routing. And Bharat was also asking about the issues of this security issue. We will handle it because when we handle this security features, we are actually using some token management. Right now, we do not have the token management, but we are going to use the token management once we clear up the dashboard, right? So that's why I just go one by one. My first focus is to create a dashboard, and that dashboard will be working fine. Once this thing is working fine, so I want only the authorized user. Only the authorized user will be access the dashboard. No one can else access the dashboard. So through this way we can handle the security. It means we will do the token management system for this. Makes sense. So Bharat is asking for a website because when we host it on Authentication server, you're saying we have to produce security audit reports. So how test your project with automation testing software? This is something else, right? So I will just tell you the things. Automation testing is basically based on the Selenium thing, right? Because I'm parallel to your training, I'm delivering the Selenium training to some other team members. So if you just walk through with my repository, in this, I am also in this, the Brain Mentor one, I'm doing this training also for the automation. So if anyone want to see the automation stuff, so just go, that's a daily automation testing right here. So here you will see I am actually, it has a lot of code. I put it inside it. You can see the codes for SPA and for the multiple applications. So it means automation testing is basically doing login automatically, doing clicks automatically. So if you want that automation cannot be happen on your system, so you have some user ID password authentication system, you have some token management system, you have the robots.txt file. There you can restrict the IPs. It means if the request is coming from this IP, then I will allow. If it is not, it is coming from somewhere else, so I would not allow. I can add the CAPTCHA because automation is somehow there's a robotic process, so you can add the CAPTCHA there. And if the CAPTCHA value is there, so CAPTCHA is pretty much easy thing. So you can just create a text box. If you want to create your own CAPTCHA, just specify some calculation. 10 plus 5 is 15. So it means machine cannot do this test 10 plus 5. Or even if you want more secure CAPTCHA, then you can use some machine learning algorithm, OpenCV kind of stuff. That is actually showing the image and then find out what is in the image. For example, I want to find out where is the car in the image. So machine cannot identify it. Makes sense. And the images are coming randomly. Calculation is again coming on a random basis. So it can have the multiplication divide. So you can stop the robotic process. I hope you understand the thing. Right. So CAPTCHA can be done by the screen readers. No, CAPTCHA algorithm you have decided, right? Machine, think about it, because you are actually throwing a arrow on a blank way. I am saying in a CAPTCHA, it's all about the logic, right? And the CAPTCHA reading software is having a logic. So again, if your logic is unique to do some different kind of calculation, CAPTCHA will be get failed. CAPTCHA cannot do any screen readers, right? Because CAPTCHA can be compares the screens. I mean, if I'm saying watch out the car in the image, if it has the data of the car, then it can compare it, right? Otherwise it cannot. Think about it, because if any one of you done the machine learning in the college, you cannot do this. I mean, you actually collect the data, and based on the data you can work. So if I create a CAPTCHA and I'm saying find out the bird in the image, and your CAPTCHA working for the cars, so it would get fail. Makes sense. So it means you need the data. So it means if you want to hack some website, you need a lot of data. Then you can ignore the CAPTCHA. That's why there are a variety of CAPTCHAs. And I'm recommending when you're using a CAPTCHA, so recommendation is go for Google CAPTCHA, because CAPTCHA is created. It means there are some tools created by the Google. So that's like reCAPTCHA kind of tool. So you can integrate those tools, right? That's a third party. You can integrate those tools in your application, and all the images, all the random images is triggered by whom? By the Google. So if you are saying I am going to hack your CAPTCHA and I am using a Google CAPTCHA, so you have a reward by Google, right? Because if you hack a Google CAPTCHA, Google will give you a reward. Another reward. I hope everyone understand. So that's what I want to say. So, but if we create the CAPTCHA, so it can be captured, right? It means it can be hacked because it has some lot of permutation and combinations. That's why I always rely on some bigger giants. It means Google is creating a CAPTCHA, we just use it in our code. I hope everyone understands. Now, so the security, I hope, because most of the students is asking about the security. So I just want to say security is like a gun, right? Security is like a gun, but a person who know how to use a gun can use it betterly, right? So same it is, security is, because so some of them says Java is very much secure, but it's all up to you as a developer how to use it, right? So it's like you know the Bruce Lee, you know the Ip Man. Ip Man has any weapon, or Bruce Lee has a weapon. They know how to use it, right? So they know how to use that weapon against the some enemy, and because they all are trained, right? So same developer has to be trained with the scenarios. When developer is creating an application, then it is get trained, and he or she know how to find out the attacks, right? Because there is a team in a company that is doing the penetration testing, and they will share the report with the developer, and then developer incorporate all the changes, right? It means developer is just only writing the codes because it's whole sole responsibility is to write the code. Then there is a team which is actually doing all of the penetration testing. So like I worked for a banking companies, and I spent more than 15 years for a banking. So there is a dedicated team that is doing the penetration testing for us. And then the report they are sharing with us. And because we are the team of the developers, so we incorporate those hacks and then resolve it. Makes sense? I hope everyone understand. So for example, if I spend 3 years or 4 years to build a software, and I use 7 or 8 months or 1 year to do the penetration testing regressively, and then I do some changes there based on the penetration testing, and I just secure the application, and you done some ethical hacking training from somewhere, and then you use some tool, I will figure it out, right? Because I done a lot of time. So that's what I want to convey. The Google, Facebook, identify if you're using a Kali Linux and then you are doing this stuff. So they will figure it out immediately because they actually doing the testing based on this. I hope everyone understand. So the correct word is there is a dedicated team who is doing the penetration testing, and that penetration testing is actually the report is submitted to the developers, and then developers will make the changes. So to make the application secure. Make sense, guys? Any other question? So if you have any other questions, so you can keep raised. So I am right now in this output section. Now we want our application would be the single page application, and because it's a single page application, so the point is it would be like we have in a left hand side we have a link. So when we click on this link, it is get render. It will open a component. Click, open a component. Click, open a component. So we are going to use something called routing. It's like a routing because when you click it, it will be open. So now never be get confused between the server side routing and the client side routing, because in the server side we have done this routes in Express, and in client we are also doing the routing, but it's a client side routing because it is going to load the components, and in the server side it is going to load the actions, right? So here we are doing this routing, and to do the routing stuff, just go in your terminal section, and from the terminal section install. So you need to install React Router DOM, right? So you need to install this library React Router DOM. So when I done this thing, it is going to install the React Router DOM. That's a third-party library that is specifically for the routing purpose. If you not use this React Router DOM, you need to put if-else condition, right? So now we are on where? We are on this React Router DOM. And from this React Router DOM, this dashboard.js, in this dashboard.js, we are going to use this React Router DOM. So there are some steps, we are going to follow those steps. I hope everyone understand why I install React Router DOM, because I want to do the client side routing. I want to click on a link and I want to load a component dynamically. That word is called dynamically, right? So I want to load it dynamically. So what I will do from particularly this place, this dashboard place, I need some links. So links are coming from where? It is coming from the Navbar. But the Navbar links has a problem, because when you use this Navbar links, not this one, sorry, sidebars, right? Sidebar links. So now sidebar links, if you just see, these all are the A tag. And I hope everyone know A tag is a anchor tag. And anchor tag open a new page. That's a problem with the A tag. So we are not going to use A tag. So in a React, because we want a single page application, it is going to load the components. Components are the div. So the pages are not loaded, div are loaded. And when the div are loaded, so the network calls are 0, right? Because everything is coming from your client side. It is not fetching a new page from every time. So the user experience is much greater. I hope everyone understand this thing. So A tag we are going to replace. So we are going to say goodbye to A tag, because we are not going to call the server pages. It means we are not fetching the pages from the servers. We are going to load the components on the client side. So the user experience is much higher. It means when you click it, immediately it get open. It would not have any wait. So we are replacing this A tag with something called nav link. So this is a new thing. And this nav link is coming from where? It is coming from React Router DOM. So if you use import nav link from React Router DOM, so you have something called nav link. I hope everyone understand the difference between A tag and the nav link. So I need to close this thing, nav link. Any doubts in your mind? So please raise. So nav link going to load the components instead of loading the page. A is opening a new page every time. So it will make a network call, fetch the page from the server. We are not fetching the pages from the server. We are loading a component. So we are fetching only the data. Data is JSON. JSON is light. Page is HTML, CSS, images, JS, fonts, so many things. So pages are heavy. User experience is bad. That's why people using this SPA. And SPA is inspired from the desktop-based applications. Right now, like I am on a VS Code and I'm switching between the tabs. It is like a switching in a links. It is extremely fast because everything is installed in my client machine. Same thing they want. They want this will be work in a very fast manner, and it is only happen when you are not doing a network calls. Right. So we have used this nav link, and it has something called class name. We have specified. Now the href is gone because A tag has this href. So now the href is gone, and instead of href we have something called to, right? And in to we are saying which one is our home page. So I will say slash. So when I am on the slash, we are on the home section, right? So there would be some home section by default. And for example, if there is some home section, so I just keep copy this thing, this li, the entire li I do copy, and I do paste, And from this particular section, I will say the first one is become the home, right? So this one is become the home, or you will say this one is become the dashboard link. So we are must be on the first link, that is a dashboard. Dashboard will just say this dashboard has so and so options. Now from the next link, this is the next link. It has something called add notes. So I will say this would be /add. Make sense? I hope everyone understand this thing. And I don't want this nav link active, so I just want active. So I just remove this active. Make sense, guys? Video is lagging.
Yes, sir, it's lagging.
I don't know why it is lagging, because somehow my network speed are coming, right? I don't know why it is lagging. Let's recheck it. No issues. If you, I mean, you are not able to identify something, so just raise your questions. I think upload speed is coming little bit low.
So latency because shows latency.
Okay, so I just repeated some points. What I did, guys, I'm just saying, I hope everyone understand nav link versus a tag, right? Nav link versus a tag, right? Everyone understand this thing. Now, Nift, I think you know class and class name is different, because React understand class name, it not understand class. HTML tag understand class, because class is somehow the class is a reserved word for a React, right? So that's why it is using the class name for using the CSS classes, right? And I'm just repeating the things, like nav link is basically a replacement of a tag, because a tag is going to open a new page every time. So we don't want to open a new page, we want to open a component. That's why we use nav links, right? Nav link is coming from where? It is coming from React route down, right? So it is coming from the React route down. I hope, Chetan, you understand this thing, the nav link versus anchor tag, right? So we are actually giving the illusion. It means we are opening a new page, but we are actually opening a component. That's why we use a nav link. So, and for the end user purpose, if you think about the end user, if you create a software for some end user, for advocate, for doctors, they don't know a spa, right? So if you say I built the application on a spa, they don't know. Makes sense. So that's why you're just creating an illusion of it, right? So it seems like when I click it, it will open a new thing, but it's a component, it's not a page. Now the thing is, 2 is basically a replacement of href. Earlier we are using what? We are using href, right? So href is get replaced by whom? By 2. And in a 2, you need to specify what? You need to specify the path. So let's say I use /, so / is for my home, right? So I will say it's a home path, and /add I am thinking about it would be the add component. So it is going to load add component. We will see how this English add, how it will map with the component. We will see. I hope this thing is clear. I think Bhavya is asking this thing add. I hope you understand what is the meaning of this add. So href is now no longer, and we have something called 2, right? And in this 2 we have specified them some URI. So it is like a URI, right? And in this URI, we specify the name of the URI. We need to map it somewhere. We will see how we can map it. Right. So this thing is clear, I hope. Now, from here, I have this nav link. That's the first nav link. Same thing I did for this particular section. So it would be a nav link. And here what I have the 2. So I'm replacing this code. And here what I have this list. Makes sense? So this is the li. Now I'm moving to the next section. This contains what? Search nodes. So again the same story, nav link, class name, and then this is 2. href is get replaced with /search. So we will create the search stuff later on, and here the nav link. Makes sense? And then there is a delete nodes. So it is again the same thing, nav link, and then copy this stuff, nav link. And from here it is 2 and here would be /delete. Makes sense? So at the end, when we move down to this particular section, if I just refresh it, I think I stopped the server, so I need to just start it again. Npm start. Right, so here we are on the login section, and Tim and 123, and I click on this login. So it is giving some error. That's a perfect error, which is it is showing. So it is saying you cannot use navlink because you're outside a router. No, now what is this thing, right? Because it is saying you are using a navlink. So where you are using navlink? Think about it. You are using in a sidebar. Where is the sidebar? Sidebar is in the to-do component, right? It is in what? It is in the to-do component. If you just see, this to-do is going to call the dashboard, right? So dashboard has something called sidebar. So if you just make an image in our mind, our sidebar is using navlink, right? It is using navlink, and it is giving some error. I'm just showing you why. Sidebar is called by whom? It is called by dashboard. Dashboard is called by whom? By to-do. Right? To-do is called by whom? By app. So on top of app, we need to place something called router. We need to place something called router, and it is called browser router. Then it allow the routing in your application. Then it allow the routing in your application because it is allowing an app. So it will allow in a to-do, it will allow in a dashboard, it will allow in a sidebar, and now the navlink is get allowed. I hope everyone understand. So routing is not allowed in your application. So you need to use browser route, right? So browser route is basically saying now I allow the routing in your application, right? How? Let's see this thing. How? So it means we need to just go to the app. So we need to just go to the app.js, and it is coming from this particular section. So we are here in this app.js, and in this app.js we need to wrap app component. We need to wrap app component. So just go to this app. App is called from where? Index.js, and from the index.js they will allow you something called browser router, right? So I use browser router. And from here, I just cut down this thing and I paste it here. Makes sense? So we have something called browser router. I hope everyone understand. So browser router says now your application can use the routing, otherwise you cannot. That's why the error is coming. So from here, I just use browser router from React router DOM. So Nift is saying what is the mean of word routing? Very simple. Routing signals. So if you just see, I just want to show you what do we call what do you call this thing? Roads. Instead of signals, I will use signboards. So if you just see this kind of thing, there is a signboard says where you want to go, on a left or on a right. So same here, we have the routes, right? So route says where you want to go. You want to go on. So if I just open a sidebar, so you will see where you want to go. You want to go on a home page, you want to go on a list page, you want to go on an ad page, you want to go on a search page. That's why there is a word called routing, because you are routing to somewhere. Either you are going on left direction, east, west, south. No, it is like this. I hope you understand why we are calling this thing as a routing, because you are routing from one component to another components, right? That's why there is a predefined library that is called React router DOM. So if you are not using this routing, you need to put if else, right? So we have done the same thing in our login and registration. Login and registration has if else. Either login will be appear, either the register will be appear, and you know the pain of that if else. Instead of doing this if else pain, we have the predefined routing stuff. That's why the routing is coming in the picture. So it means every website has the routing. So when you are here in the Bootstrap, when you click on it, it is showing the routing. So it means on every click, you are actually moving to what? You are moving to the new things. Make sense? So it is server side routing because it is doing every time when you click it, it is opening a new page. We are doing the client side routing, right? I hope you understand. Now from here, this nav link we have done. Now from this dashboard section, we want to show the outcome, right? So we have the routing and we have done this routing stuff. And if we just check this out, is this the routing is working fine or not? So I am here in this section. I do Tim 123. I do login. What is saying nav link outside a router? I think it is also asking for a router thing because I just write half of the code. So the browser router change I have done in the app.js because it required the routing. Sorry, the index.js. In index.js I have done this thing, this one. So not, I think I put it in a wrong JS, right? So where we are, we're on the front end layer. Just a minute, guys. I think I put it in a wrong file, browser router entry. So we are on front end layer. I think I did some changes on this index.js, right? I did the changes in this, right? So it is not required at all. It is on the front end layer, and in the front end layer, I need to just go to the index.js. Here I need to write this thing. So I just remove this thing, and from here I will write browser router, right? So any question, guys? So browser router we have used, and if we just go back here and I am saying Tim 123 login, so here it is, right? So that's why it is working now. So it is saying now the routing you have. Now if you want to click on this add nodes, it should show add node, it should show list node. So for this particular thing you need to create. So in the component section I just create a folder called to do, and inside this to do I will create a different component. So I will create add.js, I will create list.js, I will create search.js, right? For example, I create this, and also I create home.js. So I create several JS files, right? And on each JS file, if I am writing, it means the list would be shown, search would be happen, add would be happen. So if, for example, I want to do the add thing, so I will say RCC. So RCC, you already know this thing. So I have this add section, home section, list section, search section, right? So Bharadwaj is asking add, edit, view, delete, list, search, print. Yes. So only the point is, if as a developer you know CRUD. So the word is CRUD, CRUD, create, read, update, delete. So add is like a create, list is like a read, right? So we and search is again also like a read, because search and list is doing this. So read and write we have. So if you want to create a delete.js, so that delete.js is responsible for deleting the stuff, right? So it is become remove operation. And if I create edit.js, we are doing this edit thing. So if you just figure it out, any application, even Facebook, in Facebook you are creating a post. So it means create operation. You can view the post, you can search it, right? So list is, Bharadwaj, list is print, right? When I am doing list.js, it is printing, right? So that's why I'm not write print.js. I use list.js because here I just show you list of nodes. It's equivalent to print, right? So what I'm saying, in Facebook, if you're doing a post, so it means you're creating, you can view the post, you can search the post, you can delete the post, you can like the post. It means when you're doing the like, you're doing the updation. When you're seeing the post, you're actually doing the list stuff, right? So I hope everyone understand that's a CRUD we needed, and we have do RCC, and you know this RCC will create this basic code. And here I just remove all these things, handle events, all of this rest of the things I remove it. And from this render particular section, I will say this would be say h1 I am add, right? So this would be an add screen for me, and this add is get created. Just I do Control C, save this thing. And once I save this thing, so I will go for a list section. I will say list, and in this I will say it is a list way out, and in this list I'm going to show you the list. So I just save this thing also. and I just go and I will create a search. So I will say this would be a search operation, and also I need to make it I am search, right? And in this list I will say I am list, right? So same code Prapti, I just copy paste the thing because it's just a blank structure, nothing fancy. RCC I write, it create a class, right? Class based component it is. So add, delete, insert, delete. I just do the same stuff. So this would be a delete one, right? And from here I'm saying right. I hope everyone understand this thing. But is saying also to generate OP stream, output stream, you're saying to Word, PDF, Excel reporting. So you want attachment of PDF or Excel, is it? Is it? Or something else you want to say? So attachment is an easy thing. So we will use, but it is always on the server side, not on the client side. So server is responsible to do the mail. Server is responsible to do this stuff. Right now we are focused on the first thing, that is a dashboard. If the dashboard is working fine, links are working fine, then we integrate with the backend. That moment I do mail and the attachment stuff. Right. So we have this add, we have this delete, we have edit. Right. So even the good practices, we can create functional component as well as, right. So just to start with a glance, so I just specify the add, delete, edit, home. So home. So even I want to mix the code. So I will say it would be const home. And here I use something called props. Right, and here I use export. So here I have the home as well as, and I'm saying return h1 I am home. Right. I hope everyone understand this thing. Right. So what you are asking right now, Ritik and Bharat, these all are the basic stuff. To generate an output, I just need to set the output things, right? So it means there is an application Word, application PDF, application JSON. We need to just set the content type, and we need to use some library, right? So that's a fancy stuff for our students, right? So we will take care of all of these. It means generating Excel, it's not a big deal. To generating a PDF, it's not a big deal because it's a predefined library we have. We just pick and done it. The only challenge is what right now I'm doing it, focus on this because it's creating a dashboard. There is no dashboard kind of library, just install and dashboard will be get created. No, nothing is there. You need to integrate it. That is a problem. So interviewer is more focused on this. Interviewer is not saying generate an Excel because interviewer know there is a predefined library for this. Interviewer would not asking how to do a mail. They are just only ask what is a library for mail. That's it. If you know the name of the library, it's all right. Because they know now because that library will provide you anyway the code, right? So you need to just use that code and then just change it by yourself. It means who is the sender, who is the receiver, what is the name of the attachment, where is the location of the attachment. So these things I need to configure, right? If somebody tell you write a code to do an email and without library you cannot write because it's a low level. As a developer, you never do the low level thing. You're doing the high level thing. If you are doing a low level thing, you are actually learning C or C++. Right, for a low level stuff. I hope everyone understand what point of view I want to suggesting. Okay, all right. So we are on this home. We have all the components which we are going to show you one after another. Right. Now the point is we want to show these components based on the clicks. That is the important thing. So from here we are on the dashboard.js. From this particular section I want to show the components. Right. So what I will do, I will say that's a div section. And here I want to load a component. To load a component, when I click on this, so because sidebar, when I click on the sidebar, it will be get loaded here. So to load it, there is a special thing, guys, that is called route. So they have introduced something called route. And in this route, you will specify what component will be get render when the path is slash. So you need to just check this out. This important point, that is in sidebar, if you just see, in the sidebar, we have something called /, right? So that's a path, right? So I'm saying when your path is /, so I will load a component called home. So I'm going to load home component. I hope everyone understands this point. So it means when you click on the sidebar, it is going to load a component here. It is going to load a component here. And there's a special thing which is route, and route is coming from where? From React Router DOM. So that's a predefined tag. And this tag says if this route is, I mean, if the path is /, so load the home, right? So load the home. Now the same thing I will do. I just copy this thing, paste this, paste this, paste this, paste this, and say if /add. So I will say add, right? So add is what? Add is the name of a component. I think just check this out. It is add. It is add one. Right, it is add. So why it is not showing the hint to me? So I will write add. Yeah, now it is showing. So add is, it means when you are clicking on /add, it will load add component. Same here. If we type something called, so I just need to check on a sidebar always. In a sidebar, I have the add, another is list. So it means if this is a list, so I will say if it is a list, so load a list component, right? So load it is not showing. So I need to just, when it is not showing, so I need to just copy this thing, paste this thing, and here I will say list, and here I will say list, right? So the same thing I will do for searching purpose as well as search, right? And we need to find out in sidebar how many links we have created. We have the add, we have the list, we have the search, we have the delete, right? So because we have the delete as well as, so copy this thing and paste it here. So we have something called delete. So we have the delete, and from here we have the thing called /search. So based on this search, it will show search. Based on the delete, it will show the delete. And somehow if somebody type wrong URL, so I will say route, and then I will say component. So I'm not specifying any path, and I will say it would be something called error. So error is a part of this widget. So I will just go in error.js. So guys, if the video is lagging, so you can keep ask your doubt if you miss somewhere, because it is some network issue, right? So if something you have not understand, then raise it. Anyway, somehow our little bit voice or video speed can vary. Depends. It's entirely depends on the network. It means how many users are over on the internet. So it depends, right? So if you not understand anything, then it's a trouble for us, right? So I will do one thing. Anshuman is saying, can you write and then explain? So I will keep, because I will try it because I have the habit of doing this. So we are on this route, right? We are in this route. So in this route, if it is, if you type some wrong URL, so I will load something called error.js. And in this error.js, I will write this thing, const error, and props, right? And in this error, I will return a div, right? And this div will say, let's say p tag, and it will say something went wrong, right? So it is like this. I hope now you all are able to catch it up, because I'm first writing it, then I'm talking it, right? So it means import React from React, right? And this error must be export. Make sense? So we have this error. Now what I'm trying to say is, if your URL is not matched with anything, it means it is not add, it is not list, it is not search, it is not delete, then you are able to print something called error. So it will print the error. Make sense? I hope everyone understands this thing. Any question? Right, guys. So now the point is, just go to the login section, go to the TIM section, go to the login. It is saying something. It is saying something. It is saying objects are not valid as a React child, and it is saying in a dashboard.js line number 33. So in the 33, it is saying error on this error section. It is saying. Why it is saying? Just check this out. Okay, I hope everyone understand why it is saying, because it is not able to import the error. Right. So just tell to them import error from this component slash, I think not the components. It is on where it is on dot slash inside the widgets. Inside the widget, there is something called error. Right. So let's try this thing. Make sense? Now if I click on this add notes, okay, I think copy paste reason the error is copy paste, because I did copy paste, a lot of copy paste I did. So this thing, that's a thing I have deleted. So that's why it is saying this error, and because I copy paste everywhere, right? So everywhere is the error, because it is generated by the tool, right? So I don't want this, that's why I just delete it. I hope everyone understand. So I just remove the unwanted thing, which is actually generated by this. Make sense? So I am now going back to the home section, going to the login section, doing the login, clicking on the login button. Here we are. Click on the add notes. Now the point is, when I'm clicking it, it is somehow it is working. Search is saying error. Okay, it means I need to remove it from there also. But the problem is, if you just see, guys, the problem is when we do login, when we do this login thing, we are here in add notes. It is showing /add here, but when we are on list, it is showing the list, but it is not rendering it. So why it is not rendering it? It is why it is on the first page. So the first page is the dashboard one. So in the dashboard one, first we will go in a dashboard one, because the first page is the dashboard. That is the home. I think that is the home, right? So it is showing I am home. I mean, this is on the first page. So the problem is coming up. The problem is when we are on the sidebar. Sidebar says you have the URL called /. So this is the important thing, guys. We need to understand. So it is saying I am on the /. So this is the root one, and this is /add. This is the add one. This is something /list. There's something /search. So this is something /delete. So these all are what? These are the links. So when we are clicking on this link, it is moving to somehow in the dashboard. So it is here in the dashboard section. In the dashboard section, we are using route. Route is there. So in the route, it means one route will work at a time. So we need to put two things here. One is a switch. So it is like a switch case now, right? So we put switch. So it means a one route will be work at a one time. So these routes are like a cases for us. So we use a switch, and if you see switch also coming from React router DOM. Switch is also coming from a React router DOM. Makes sense, guys? I hope you understand this thing. So switch is a predefined tag which is created by the React router DOM, and we write the switch. Now there is another problem, because when we specify the switch, so if we see it here, we just go here, TIM 123, and we do login it here. When I click it again, it is not showing it this thing. The reason is because every URL start with /. So because every URL start with /, so it seems like this slash is, it seems like this slash is always a home. So if it is always a home, so I will say when there is a slash, just take only the slash thing. So I use a exact. I use something called exact. So it means it exactly matches the slash. So when there is a slash, it will go for a home. And for the rest of cases, it will go for add, it will go for a list, it will go for a search. Makes sense? So this is I have done here. And again, we are going to check this out. 1, 2, 3. Log in it here. Okay. Oops, why it is not showing it? I think I need to just check this out. It must be show it here. I am add. Makes sense. So the point is, I need to just check this out. In a sidebar, I click it here in the sidebar section. I am in the dashboard section. In the dashboard, I am on the div section. So I just need to check where this div I have closed. This is the div, I think. This div belongs to this. This div belongs to this. This div belongs to, yeah, that's the problem. So this div must be, I close it here. And what else? This div belongs to whom? So this div. So I think there is some problem in this div. So I just remove this thing first of all. I think there is some mismatch, guys. So I just figured it out. I think some, because it is showing a red one. This div is this. Again, I am removing this also in between. This belongs to this. This belongs to this. So these two are extra, right? So I think that's a part of the commented code. So I remove this one, and in this return bracket, I will use this bracket, right? And this is the entire bracket of entry. So that's a syntax issue, right? I hope everyone understands this thing. So just select, just select everything and press Ctrl-Shift-F. Or do right click, format is there, I think. Format document, right? So it will do indentation automatically of your code. Right, so I will just go here, and from here I will say Tim 1, 2, 3 login. Still, I think there is a problem. Add list. All of them is working, but it is not showing the data. Why? So just do right click and inspect first of all why it is not showing. So check this out, the error is coming or not. Cannot perform a React state update and unmounted. So todo.js, todo.js again. Just a minute. So this dashboard is called by whom? By a todo. Here. So it is calling the dashboard. I think it seems correct. It is showing I am at, if you just see, it is showing somewhere, right? Here it is. So the problem is, I think the problem is not on this side. Problem is on somehow. Okay, I got it. The problem is on the CSS side, guys. So not this particular side. So just go back on this design area. In this design area of your page, right? This area, and this particular section, we're just showing the design. This is a canvas section. This is a H2 section. This one. So to identify the design, just click on this design page, right? So this is the dashboard size, right? And it is on this view area. So if you focus, this is the main, and it has some indentation. So we missed this indentations here. So we need to just keep this thing and go to the dashboard. So it is coming there, but it is somehow outside the screen it is showing. So we are on the Navbar section. I missed something, guys. I use this sidebar and I need to put this thing, this switch is here, right? So that switch, so I just keep that code, and this switch element must be inside this particular section, right? So if we are here on our web page and I do login, so it's not an error in our code, it is, we have used this, right? So it is showing add list, but it is again coming outside somewhere. So it means if we just go back, and I also need to check the search one also, because search one I remove this thing. So it's only the indentation in my, so this one. So first of all, I just remove this thing and moving back, doing login. So that's an issue because we need to align it, this thing. So here it is, but when I do right click inspect, you are able to see, guys, this I am ad is coming, right? This I am ad is coming. Makes sense? So it means when I just I just do one thing, as well as when I just close this thing, it is actually gone. So it means it is somewhere on the right hand side. So if I just show you the 100%, and if I click on the list section, so I do right click and inspect, so then the list I am list will be showing here, right? So it is somehow, it is I think it is coming inside this, I mean after this section, right? So it means it is coming after this sign out section. That is the problem. So we need to just see the design, because we are following this bootstrap design. So we need to follow the same design. So we need to find it out. There is a nav, and on top of nav we have this div class row. So that's a perfectly fine. Now we will pick these two things. We will pick these two things, and on top of this, this dashboard, and from here we paste this, right? These are the classes they have used. So I just go here and I will say class name and class name, right? So these are the issues, because we are facing these issues because we are following the same design standard. And here I will put div, this thing, and here I put this div. So not this div, sorry, that is the main. Right, so if we, I think Akshat, it could be behind sidebar. Yes, it is behind the sidebar. That's what I'm saying. That's why I use this. So it is coming behind the sidebar. So it means it is keep continue on this. So that's why I use this row column widget. So it is coming like this: add, list, search, delete if we have, right? Dashboard. I hope, guys, everyone understand this thing. So it means your routing is working. And if you just see the quickness, if you feel, it means it is so much quick. If you click it, it is immediately loaded, because it is loading what? It is loading. So URL are changing, but it is not loading the page. It is loading what? It is loading the component. I hope everyone understand. And the bug is actually on your, because I done this route switch everything, but the bug is it is outside the sidebar. So I use this main role class and it provide this thing. I hope everyone understand. And now our dashboard is look like this. So because of the bootstrap, at least we have the look and feel. Now the point is we need to do this add notes section, list note section, right? Then we need to write a backend for this, because when we write add notes, it is going to add a note, right? But where it is going to add? It is going to add in a backend. So we need to write a backend layer. I hope everyone understand. Any doubt, any questions? So please raise your questions, right? or somehow when you join some internship, you are doing the same thing, which I am doing right now. Right? The only difference is I am doing for 2 hours right now, you are doing for entire day. Right? Because the thing is, they will give you the mockups. Mockups are like these screens in a JPG format, and you need to convert that JPG code, I mean JPG image to a code, right? That is a responsibility of a developer. So, and now we will test the error. How this error will be tested. For example, if somebody write here directly some thing. So if I type enter, now the point is it will move to the login page. Why it will move to the login page? We need to check this out. But the point is, it should not go to the login page first of all. And if I type wrong thing, so it will show the error. But the thing is, we need to create some token on a server, and we need to check if the token is present. So do not go to another page. Stay on a dashboard, right? If the token is not there, then it will move to the dashboard. So this we need to add through a backend. So we will see how to generate a token. I mean the authorization we are doing it. So now the point is we have this routes. We have the error mechanism also. So token is a modern, Bharadwaj, because session, when you're using session, is stored in a cookie. But if you are going to create any application, it means on the backend side Node.js and on the front end side the Flutter is there. So Flutter does not use cookies because it's a mobile apps. Mobile apps work on the token. So that's why my preference is to learn the tokens, because if you learn the token on Node.js, so your application can work with the mobile apps as well as for the web app, right? That's why we are using a token. So if you say session is a unique number, token is a unique number, in this point of view, both of them are same, right? But the generation mechanism is entirely different. It is not stored in a cookies, right? So we need to send it, and it is stored by us. So it means in a client layer, we are going to store it. For example, I'm on a React layer, so I will store it in a local storage. And I need to fetch it from the local storage, send it to the server. Server will compare it. So there are some mechanisms, there are some APIs for a token-based authentication. So right now, people are more interested in token-based authentication. Session-based authentication is old days, right? Because this is only for the web versions, right? If in a web version, if somebody disable the cookies, so it would not work. But token will work. So we have this add list, search, delete, everything. Now the point is in ad screen. So first design the ad screen, how the ad screen will be look like. So in the ad screen, we are on the render side. So we'll say add notes, and inside this I will say div, and let's say we are saying it has something called class name, and we are saying it's a form group class. We are putting it here, and we put something called label, and inside the label we want to say the name of the node you will write, and here input type text of the node, and here I will say placeholder type name of the node, and that's it. That is for first div, and I just copy this thing, paste it, and here I will say this would be a text area, and I will say description of the node will be go here, and rows, number of rows, let's say 5. So I will say rows equal to 5, and columns equals to 30, for example, and we have this text area as well as. Now from here I need a button for add. So 2 fields I have right now, and I want to create a button add notes, right? So you can have multiple fields. So right now I have this add notes. So it means when I click on this, it will show, and even I specify class name, form control. So the form control class will be get applied. These all are coming from the Bootstrap as well. And from here I will say it has something called BTN and BTN primary, right? And if we just move it here, and I just do login Tim 123, login it here, it is saying something went wrong. You know, if this is get tested, right? So if I click on this add notes, it is like this. So add notes are coming up. So this area and then this description and add notes. So you can change the look and feel of this. So for example, it must be in some div, and that div class name must be a row, right? And then this would be here. The same thing is I use the div class name row again and paste it here, and this would be here, and the same thing div class name. So a row will create row thing instead of doing this break line kind of stuff, and even you can put the columns as well as based on the responsiveness. Why it is showing like this? Add notes, add notes. I use class row na. If I use class row, just a minute, we need to check add notes. I just do triple dot and I just go on this add. Even my form group I have applied, form control I have applied. Why it is not get applied? Let us tracing. Why it is not get applied? Okay, okay, I know the reason why it is not get applied. Because of the reason I want to show you. The reason is because of this class. They have used call MD9, right, and call LG10, right. So they have used this class. There's a call MD9, and so it's a column medium 9 one they have used. So let's see if I do. And what else? They have used a flex as well as flex wrap they have used. So they have used the justified contents and flex medium no wrap. So they have used this something called align item center. So this is because, I mean, the design we can change it, because the point is now the add notes is here, name is here, description is here. But the thing is, because it does not have the space, so no wrap, I will remove this thing. I also remove. If I omit all of them, right? So it is like this add notes. It is showing this add note stuff, and from here, if I type this thing and I click on this add notes, so that notes will be get added on a backend. And in a list section, I want to show the notes, right? So I want to show the list of the notes. So from the list, particular list section, I will go on this. So I will say it is again H1, and from here saying list of notes, right? And in this list of notes, I want to show the list of the notes. So the best thing is just go to the Bootstrap website and then go to the bootstrap.com again, right? And borrow the table, right? So from documentation, there would be something called table. Just search it out. So it will save over time. And we will create a dynamic table later on. So we need some skeleton of a table. So we'll just go, keep going here. Like here it is the sample table. Here is another one. So there are plenty of examples of the table. So we will pick which suit our need. that's a colorful table. This colorful table is actually showing which one is successful, and so I will pick a one I have seen here. This one is so this one I am going to pick, copy this thing, right, and from here I just paste it. So it has the code of table, right? And for our point of view, we need what? We need a note ID. Let's say note ID will be get generated, and note name I want to show, and note description I want to show. So these are the headings. Sorry, not this. These are this one is the heading, guys. There's not this one. That's a data, right? That's a data. This one. I hope everyone understand. Somebody saying video is lagging, but if you are able to understand, if you not understand anything, then video lagged. So I just tried. If anything you miss, then please raise, because I just copy and paste it, that table tag only. This thing I have done. So from here I just specify. From here I specify the ID of the note and the name of the note and the description of a note. That's it. And the rest of the stuff, it has this tier. These are least important for me, because this would be get generated by the React. I save this thing, and if I just go here, I do login, Tim 123. Login, and here are the list of nodes. So we have add and we have the list. So this is what we have done right now. So any doubts right now, guys? And I need to create a search nodes. It is quite similar like a list of nodes. So what I have done in list of nodes, the similar kind of stuff I need to do in a search nodes, because the same kind of table I need to put, but with a search bar, right? So any doubt, any questions? So this hash is not required at all. This is name. So this is, we have actually conveyed the dashboard. So we have the dashboard, we have the login. Now the point is add nodes will be connected with a database. Database should add a node. It should list a node. It will search a node. It will delete a node. Plus it mail something. It means it will mail you if you are say you're saying I add a note, so note is get mailed. The note is mailed to you, all of you. Search we can do. So for the search thing, the only stuff is use the same code, list of nodes, the similar kind of code. You will use this one in a search. The only changes in search, you have the search text box as well as. So if I delete this thing, and from here, if I place this thing, so I am saying this would be list of nodes, and here we are saying search nodes. And because we want to search some nodes, so I will say input type text placeholder type to screen stuck. Okay. Just a minute, guys. I'm just checking. Just a minute. I think there's some problem somewhere. I don't know why it is lag, because upload and speed is correct. Okay, I just repeat it. For search, what I did, I just go to the list section. I copy the table tag of list, and in a search.js, I just paste it. And in this space, once I paste it, I just change the thing called search nodes. This is what I have done. And I create a text box where I will type and search it. I hope everyone understands this thing. So if we check this out, this thing. So if you click on the search notes, you'll able to see there is a search notes coming up, and here you can specify the class. So here it is a search notes. So any question in your mind, please raise. I hope everyone understand this structure, how we create a structure and how we create a dashboard stuff, right? So, but there is plenty of things we need to finish up because we have the add page. Add page will take the values, and these values has to be stored in a database. So the way out is we have done this routing stuff right now, and in this routing stuff, after this routing stuff, when I click on this add, it is going to open a add component. So the add component is get opened. When I click on this add button, so it is going to call a node. So it is going to call node and express stuff, and it is talking to the Mongo. So we are using Mongo Atlas now. So it will store the to-do data on Mongo Atlas. I hope guys, this thing is clear. So I need your confirmation, guys. If any issue you have not understand, so please raise, because it's all for yourself, right? It is not for me. This project, all this work is all for you. If you all, I mean, if you are all interested in this code stuff, so it means it makes both of life easy. Because anyhow, I am actually, when I'm writing something, so it means I'm putting some energy there, right? And you need to use that energy somehow. I hope everyone understand this thing. Now the point is, if this thing is clear to everyone, I am writing this add note section. In this add note section, it will write some notes. Let's say the note says watch movie, right? And here I am saying Iron Man Part 3. And then I click on add notes, so it will add it, right? So this will be get added. Make sense? So when I click on this add node, it will be get added there. Is this clear, guys? I think some guys asking about please upload project videos on the YouTube channel. Because in this we have uploaded all the curriculum journey. It means if you just see, we are actually migrating everything in this. So the code will be get uploaded on Git. So I hope, because you are using all the things which you have learned, so all the concepts, that's why we have uploaded there. And this project code will be get uploaded on Git. So that will help you on this instead of uploading a video. And there are some points for the college opinion and everything. So that's why the videos are there. So dashboard is get highlighted because we have used class name. If you just see, Akshit, we have used something called in the dashboard, not in dashboard, we are saying in a sidebar. If you just see in the sidebar, we have something called active classes, right? So that's why, and navlink classes, right? So that's a predefined by the bootstrap, right? So that's why it is highlighted, because it has the active class, right? I hope you understand. So if I click on this add notes, what will happen? It will talk to the database, right? And first need is, before talking to the database, first need is we need to pick these values. We need to pick these values, what movie and Iron Man thing, and store it somewhere. Then we talk to the database. So the point is, so this is really important stuff, guys. To pick the data, you know how we can pick it. So I think Rani is asking where this data will be added. It will be added in a Mongo Atlas, right? So it means we're going to store it in a database itself. So it means whatever the things you are writing it here, when we click this submit, it is talking to the Express. So later on we are going to write the backend. So Express will pick the data, and you already know how to pick the data. Body parser we already use. We use this data and hand it over to the Mongoose. Right? In Mongoose, we already know there is a function called create. In create, we pass an object, and it will store it where? In the Mongo. Mongo, we are using what? We are using Atlas. Make sense? So this is how this data will be added in a database, on a cloud database. I hope everyone understand. And in real time, it is like this. It means when you add it, it will be get added in some database. Right. What you are asking? What the flow you are asking, Bharatwaj? The same flow, which I have written it here. How it is stored in a database. So what I'm saying is, when you're putting the data in a text box, you need to first read this data. First, you need to read this data. Now the question is how you will read it. You have the option called ref. If you remember, we have the ref. Through ref, we will read it. And then we put this data in some object. And from node side, from the React side, we have something called fetch. If we use fetch, if we use a fetch function, through fetch, we will send it to the Express. Express have the body parser, receive the data from the request and hand it over to the body parser, retrieve the data, and then give it to the Mongoose. In a Mongoose, you know, there is a function called create, because in a registration, we use this thing, and it will actually add it on Mongo Atlas. Right. Is this clear? Ritik, I think you are asking how these links will be created dynamically. Is this you try to ask?
Sir, I just want to ask, as we are entering the data in the add note, and after we click the add notes, it should be added on the dashboard as a content.
Yes, it will be. We will see this link, list notes. List notes is actually fetching the data, right? So when you click on the list notes, you're able to see whatever you added. Make sense?
Okay, sir.
Is this you are asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's why I created different components. So we are working right now on the add notes. Add notes is responsible to add it in Mongo Atlas. Once it is get added in Mongo Atlas, then we click on the list notes. List notes fetch the data from the Mongo Atlas. So it's a reverse process. It will fetch it, and hand it over to the list notes. Right. So actually we have done through this add and list, we are actually doing this write operation and read operation in a database through this way. Right. So we'll see how. So first of all, I need to add the thing. So for adding, you already know, for add notes, you need something to pick the values. To picking up these values, you need something called ref, right? So just go back to the add.js, and here we need to put, guys, we need to put something called ref, right? And in ref, we will say it's the first value, that is called name. So I will say ref name and ref description. So we have two things, ref name and ref description. And here we will say we need to do what we need to do, add note, right? So this is our function, and this will be called from here, from the button. So I will say on click, this dot add note, bind this. right? So where we are here in this add note, and from here I will say let name. I will pick the name value, and I will pick the description. Hello? Description is on. Okay. So we have this let name and let description in the name section. In the name section, you will pick the name by using this dot refs dot name dot current dot value. You know this thing, and not a current, right? So current is required on somewhere else. So I will use name dot value and this dot refs dot description dot value, right? So if we just check this out, we have DESC, we have this name. So we fetch both of them, right? Once we fetch both of them, so we will put this value in somewhere, right? So putting these values in somewhere, we will use an object. So let's say I will say const. I will say the note object, and in this note object, I will say this would be name, and it would be a name. And from here, it would be description. So it would be a description. Make sense, guys? I hope everyone understands this thing. So I have this object, and now this object, because I picked the object, and now I want to send this object to the backend. So I picked the values. Now I want to send it to the backend. So you know there is a function called fetch, and in this fetch, we need to specify so many things, right? So in a fetch, you already know we need to specify the things. So best thing is always, because we already done this fetch stuff in the login and the registration. So if you just go to the registration stuff, you already done this thing. In a fetch, we specify some of the arguments, right? So if you just see fetch URL and with options. So the same thing I will done. So just to save the time, because we already done for the registration, so I'll just copy this stuff and paste it here. So these are the options. In the options, you know, it would be a course request, post, and we are going to send JSON, and whatever JSON we are going to send, it must be the stringify. And when it is stringify, so what we are going to stringify this thing, notes object, right? And when we are saying fetch, so fetch is responsible for URL. So just go to this thing. It has some URL, so we'll maintain some URL, because URL will be get changed. When it is going to be changed, when we are hosting this application on Heroku. When we are hosted in Heroku, Heroku has their own domain URL, and we know this would be happen. Because this would be happen, so why not we maintain all the URLs in a constant? So it means we go to the config file. So it means if this thing will be get changed, so we will be change it from this particular place. So I will say it has some URL. So that would be, I will say add URL, and in this add URL, so I will say add notes URL, and this add notes URL, I will say HTTP localhost 1234, and let's say it would be add. So we are assuming there would be some URL, right? Right now it does not exist. Same thing you will done for this registration as well as. So for the registration, you have written this URL. That's a hard-coded one. So remove this thing. It's a bad practice. So just go here and say register, and then paste this thing. Make sense? So we will have this add notes URL. We have this register URL. We maintain both of them. So my point of view is when you are hosting this application, so this localhost 1234 will be get removed, and it would be some domain name. So because it would be a domain name, so my practice is I always refer const and say base URL, and in this base URL specify this thing, this base URL, right? Specify this thing. There is a base one, because this will be get changed, and because this will be get changed, so why not we put it in this backtick style? We put it in a backtick style, and I remove 1, 2, 3, 4, because I know this would be get changed if I host it in a GoDaddy or somewhere else. So just for a future purpose, I will say it would be a it would be a base URL. Make sense? Same practice I will follow here also. So it means, and now you deploy on any machine. It's all up to you. It will work. You need not to change the URLs. I hope everyone understands this thing. So we have this add notes URL. We have the register URL. We have the list URL in future. So I just for a future perspective view, I will write this thing. So for this, we need to write some backend code, guys. Any doubt in your mind, please raise if you not understand this thing. Okay, so here I will maintain search URL as well. So I maintain all the futuristic URL which will become in a future. So that's why I'm using a word called future, and this would be so why I done this thing, add notes URL, register URL, because I don't want to make any hard coding. Like in registration, I done this hard coding. Think about if you hosted your application on some GoDaddy and your website name has become http abcd.com. So you need to change it in your code, right? You need to change it in your code. So that's why I don't want to change it in my code every time on so many places, because I will write this thing on so many places. So why not? I will omit this thing, and here if I use something called constants dot, and I will use a word called register. So it will refer the registration from this config. It will go to the constants and pick the registration, and from the registration it will pick the base URL and then embed the React register. I hope Rani is asking this thing. I hope you understand this thing. So it means in future, if you are hosting to some different server, so you need to just change it on a one place instead of just look up where is the ad, where is the registration, where is the login, what URL they are using. So you need to change it in many places. So same here in a fetch. In a fetch, we need to pass the URL. So I will pass constants dot, and I will pass add. So it means it will look up the ad from here, right? So that's why I'm not maintaining any URL in my code. I will maintain it in a config file. If anywhere it is get changed, it will be picked from that place. And then I use options. So this is going to add something. And when it is going to add something, it is going to return a promise. Right. When it is going to return a promise, so we will use promise dot then, and we will see what we need to do on this. Right. And from here, I have this response. I will pick the response, and this is already be done. Response.json will become, and you know when the JSON will become, it would be on then, and then you have the data. Otherwise, it has a catch. In the catch, it has the error. Make sense? And same it here. Catch, error. I hope everyone understands this thing. So for registration, Prapti is asking about the registration. I'm saying in the registration, you are just doing what? You are just using constant.register. Right? So it is picking the registration information from this particular place, and then you're using a URL. So it means no hard coding in my code. So it means anytime when I want to change any URL, so it means if I host it on XYZ, A, B, C, D, whatever the server, I just make the changes only on one place, that is the base URL I will change. Right? So that's why I just segregate everything. And because you all are freshers, and fresher pain is to maintain so many files, right? But you need to understand, no one work for a fresher, right? Everyone is working for the customer, right? They want the maintenance is a cost. So that's why they design a code in such a way to divide everything in a different files. So the maintenance would be easy. Bhavya is saying, what if the JSON is coming properly, but register JSON is giving error? What does it mean? If the JSON is coming perfectly from some backend, so register.json, why the register.json will give an error? If the JSON is coming correctly from the backend. So it never give you, response.json never give you an error if it is coming perfectly. right? So this respond.json only giving an error if something is wrong on a backend side. It means you need to do this thing, whatever the JSON you are receiving from the backend, just validate it by validate JSON and paste it here. So, right, so there are some website where you can validate the JSON which is coming from the backend. So just paste and click on the validate JSON. If the JSON is correct, then it will work. Right, so if it is from the iTunes API, just check that JSON first. Paste it here. If this thing is coming correct, then there is an error in some code. Right? Otherwise, it would not say catch error. Make sense? I hope everyone understand the promise.then response. So the response will become here, and then we will print the response. So now the only thing is left now. We need to just create a backend, because front end side we have done add thing, and we need to do the list thing. So today objective is add list will work along with the backend, right? So we will do the backend stuff. Right. So to validate the website, validate the JSON, this is a jsonlint.com. Here you paste in the text area, you will paste it and then click on the validate JSON. Right, guys. So I am going to wind up because it is more than 1 o'clock. Any question in your mind, please raise it. Right? Any question in your mind, please raise it. Because now we have till 1:30 we have the doubt session. So if you have any doubts for today or any previous class, any issues, so you can please raise. Yep. Hello.
सर मैं ये मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था, मुझे डाउट था कनेक्शन इशू।
आपकी वॉइस बहुत कम आ रही है।
सर मेरा एक डाउट था कनेक्शन इशू की वजह से मैं रिप्लाई नहीं कर पाया था। मेरा एक डाउट था, जब हम ऐड नोट करेंगे, नेट नोट डिस्क्रिप्शन में ऐड करने के बाद नोट हमारा ऐड हो जाएगा, तो वहाँ पे वो मैसेज कैसे डिसअपीयर होगा कि योर नोट हैज बीन एडेड?
वो कैसे आएगा? बिकॉज when you're using this promise.then response.json, so the server will send the JSON, and that JSON has the message, right? And that message we will set in state. तो यहाँ जाके मैं स्टेट में सेट कर दूंगा मैसेज जो डेटा में आएगा। तो यहाँ अगर आप देखोगे तो फाइनल आउटकम विल बी लाइक दिस, वी हैव द स्टेट एंड स्टेट हैज समथिंग कॉल्ड मैसेज, राइट? एंड दैट मैसेज बाय डिफॉल्ट blank, and the message we will send it from the server. So that message will become in the data, and we will say this dot set state. So we'll say this dot set state, and set state may we are pointing this data dot message. So server will create a message. So that's right now it is a black box. So server will create a message, and that message will be stored in this message. I hope you understand. And this message you are going to print it here. So it means what will happen after adding a note. So you will say h3, and you will say this dot state dot message, right? But we need to create a backend stuff. Then this message will appear. Otherwise, this message by default is coming as a blank. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Bharadwaj sharing some screenshot. Why it is not opening when I click it? It is not open. Can you share it again? Because when I click it, it is the black. Yeah, this dot is coming only. I think image is missing or something else.